Welcome to this new lecture. I'm Francesca Bonfim Bandeira and I work as a product specialist in Untitled, a company focused on digital transformation in retail. The aim of this lecture is to introduce you to the topic of customer journey and to show you how this tool can be used by organizations to shape their customer experiences. First of all, let's have a look at the definition of customer journey. The term customer journey addresses the processual and experiential aspects of service processes as seen from the customer viewpoint. An empathic perspective is essential when using this tool in order to shape a coherent experience. The customer journey, in fact, reflects the evolutionary path of the modern customer that has had a fast improvement in recent times. The concept of customer journey starts with the rise of the modern customer. There has been a passage from Homo sapiens to Homo cyber economicus with the superpower of choices. Ever since the customer has had the need to buy products, he or she has also had to perform a certain sequence of actions to satisfy his or her needs. These actions will shape his or her path. In the past, there were less variety of offerings, so less market competition. The customer was selecting products to satisfy his needs for convenience and availability. Good sellers were in a position of power. They could set the rule of the game since they were in control of media, communication channels and fulfillment options. But something happened across the path of the contemporary customer. The proliferation of goods category increased the market competition and made it very hard for businesses to differentiate from the others. The extension of media channels made it harder for businesses to exercise control over channels, changing the paradigm from one-way conversation to a dialogue. Now, the rules of the game are not just written by organizations, but mainly shaped by customer choices. The main aspects that influenced this shift were firstly the technological advancement accelerated by the Industrial Revolution that affected the market with more standardized offering at cheap prices. Technology improvement caused an escalation of new communication channels. And secondly, the digitalization penetrating all stages of the traditional purchase process created totally new paradigms. This clearly affected the path of the customer and the consequential path of the business that wants to meet the customer expectation. In particular, this is the way the path has changed. Traditionally, we had a single channel model where the customer was able to buy products in a single physical space. Then, new channels appeared and they were used in a separate way to communicate with the customer. Channels were still independent from each other with channel-centric views. At a certain point, businesses understood that to convey a unique experience, they had to orchestrate their own channels and reach a new customer with a unique proposition. The Omnichannel Concept is perceived as an evolution of multi-channel retailing. In the omnichannel environment, customers move freely among channels within a single transaction process. Since the channels are managed together, the perceived interaction is not with the channel, but rather with the brand and the related experience. Under the influence of technology, customers may become an active participant in the process of creating and shaping value. This caused a rise of a strong interest on customer behavior and actions. While customers look for experiences that they associate with pleasure and avoid experiences that they find pejorative, businesses started to understand the value of designing a well-articulated experience. It became essential for businesses and designers to develop tools to study and think in a customer perspective. Customer journey are one of these tools. Let's see how customer journey maps are used. Customer journey is a rational and empathic method that organizations use to identify, anticipate, and orchestrate. There are four main reasons for using these tools. First, they create a shared understanding. They are visual representation of a certain sequence of action that help to better understand existing situation or an abstract future projection. Second, they help to capture research data in a meaningful way. In the research phase, they are used to organize information in a sequential way and understand the relation among the research material. Third, they guide the research, helping in finding gaps and planning better questions in specific areas. Fourth and last, they help to make smarter decisions and investments based on the mapped journey. You should think of it as a living object that communicates pain points to be fixed and opportunity to be taken. Now let's have a look at the elements that compose a journey map. Customer journey are an empathic tool built around a specific target persona, who is the main actor of your service. For the purpose of designing a journey, you mainly need to extract from your persona a scenario and some needs and expectations. The scenario is the situation that the journey map addresses. It gives the context around the customer, and the needs are the customer needs related to that context. Stages are the temporal dimension of a customer journey. They refer to the main phases of the actor experience. They can be planned differently according to the focus of the journey and the context. Starting from the main actor's need, the customer journey map presents a series of customer needs spread all over the journey stages. They refer to the specific need in the specific stage of the experience. Our chosen actor is going to take actions during his journey, and we call them steps. Steps can be activities or interactions, but also more passive moments like waiting or walking. The storyboard can be a useful tool when you want to make an experience visually clear. It increases your empathy with the journey map. Touchpoints are the moment of contact between the person and the brand. They can be seen as a brand's answer to customer needs. As the number of media channels grow, so does the number of touchpoints. Customer journey maps are used to evaluate the impression generated by touchpoint on a specific customer. The interaction with the brand touchpoint creates a moment of truth that determines whether the brand will leave a positive, a negative, or no impression at all. The identification of a pain point stimulates creative innovation. In fact, if we look at the past, touchpoints used to be very few, and they were owned and controlled by the brand. Nowadays, a digital layer penetrates every object and even spaces. Touchpoints create a common ground for company and customers. Customer journey are a dynamic tool that can be used in different ways to describe a situation. Different scale and focus produce a diversification among different types of journeys. Nowadays, these tools are becoming more and more used by companies that are integrating digital services inside their offering. Especially during coronavirus pandemic in 2020, we are seeing many businesses forced to rethink their customer and employee experiences. In the retail environment, for example, many brands are rethinking about a new way to engage the customer in a low-touch journey, ensuring safety and respect of the restrictions. Many brands have been able to readapt their journey to the current scenario, reshaping their customer experiences and especially investing in digital services that helps to stay relevant in a time of uncertain future.